I want to welcome everyone to this workshop, to this virtual class. I was pretty excited to do this. We've been growing some of these plants in our Native Health community garden for a couple years now, and sort of wanting to learn more of like, what do we do with all these great herbs and things growing in the garden. And so I was excited to meet Mina and have her expertise and her experience and teaching us as well. And so Mina Chavaria has been making salves for a while and will be leading our instruction. And she has some info about her and how to find her business and things towards the end of the presentation. And so we want to welcome her. And so just a few housekeeping things, like if you wouldn't mind keeping your microphones muted, unless you have a specific question. We can all participate and ask questions and get to know each other. And we like to run these too as a way to share your knowledge. And so if you have something you'd like to share or have experience with too, that works. We just hope we don't have a lot of cross chatter or interruption with the audio, because we have a little bit larger group. And of course, you're always welcome to type something in the chat box. And so we can monitor that and sort of ask those questions out loud too. So, but most likely, if you have a question about something, I'm sure Mina it's probably like the next step that she's getting ready to present on. So I'd like to welcome Mina Chavaria to our class, and we'll turn it over to her. She has a PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll launch in to what we're making today. So thank you, Mina. We really appreciate you here.
Well, thank you, Melissa, for having me. Thank you, Native Health, also for hosting me. Again, my name is Mina Chavaria. I'm a West Phoenix-based gardener. I've been gardening since about 2004, but more consistently since 2012. I'm relatively new to herbalism. I wouldn't really call myself an herbalist, but I do get pretty obsessed with whatever I'm planting. And so from there, like, I try to learn as much as I can from those plants that are growing in my yard. I started gardening to help myself heal, keep myself grounded and connected to the land. And so, like I said, I'm pretty new to herbalism. Just many hours in my garden, turning seeds into plants and turning those plants into infused oils, salves, hair treatments, teas, body care products, natural adornments such as like natural makeups and stuff like that. And as Melissa mentioned, I do have those available through my business, Chula by Nature, which means beauty by nature. And I also am a fellow Goth Jardinera, where I run it with my partner in crime / best friend, Salve. I don't know if you want to like make an appearance. Where we help set up communities with gardens and education. So today we're going to be going over how to make a salve, and if time allows, I'll show you how to make a balm. So yeah. So first, let's talk about what a salve is versus what a balm is. So a salve and a balm are both ointments that are made out of wax and oil. Sometimes butters, like shea butter, mango butter, that are to make a medicinal material that is semi-solid. And this material is used to soothe or treat the skin. So the difference between a salve and a balm is that a salve has less wax, which allows the formula to penetrate the skin more quickly, and generally is used more for issues like pain or deeper issues like psoriasis. And then a balm contains more wax, and that allows the formula to stay on top of the skin surface, and that would be used more for like rashes, eczema, and fungal conditions. to be honest, I use them interchangeably. Sometimes I add more wax for the summertime just so that the formula holds up in my purse, like I said, during the summer. I use balms and salves for many different reasons, to tame flyaways, on my cuticles, on dry patches. Like I said, for my niece, she suffers from eczema, so I like to make salves for her. On zits, depending on what herbal materials you put into the oil. Yeah, and I've gifted salves to my friends with babies that, you know, you can use it on diaper rash and baby skin. Like I said, depending on the ingredients that you use, it's gentle enough to use on babies as well, or typically anybody, all skin types, especially chamomile and calendula. Those are pretty safe to use on both, or any skin type, sorry. And so I'm going to go ahead and start talking a little bit about how calendula and chamomile have been beneficial to myself.
Hey, Mina.
Yes.
I was actually just wondering, can we do a quick sound check? Somebody in the chat said that they couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to interrupt though.
That's okay.
So can everybody hear Mina all right, or does she need to speak louder?
Yeah, I think she needs to speak a little bit louder.
Oh, okay. Should I go back, or do you want me to continue from here? I'm going to go into the difference, well, the uses for calendula and chamomile.
Some people are commenting, sorry, Mina, we're seeing the comments. Some people are commenting that you're a little soft and quiet, but that we can hear you fine, or wondering if your microphone could be a little closer to you.
Is that better?
Yes, I think it's better.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, it's good. I think so.
Is it better for you? Reverberation here as well. Sorry. We good? Yeah. Okay. So, do you want me to go back to the difference between a salve and a balm, or should we just continue with calendula and chamomile?
Why don't you go back to the last one? We'll just review. So, thanks.
Okay. So the difference between a salve and a balm is that a salve has less wax in it, and a balm has more wax in it. So a salve is something that you want to use when you want the formula to penetrate into the skin more quickly. So you would use that on issues like pain or deeper issues like psoriasis. And with a balm, that contains more wax, and that would be used on issues where you want the formula to stay on top of the skin. So for like issues like eczema, rashes, fungal conditions, you know, scrapes and bumps and bruises, stuff like that. Let's see. Like I said, that to be honest, I use them interchangeably. I mostly use them for like lip balm, for hair flyaways, for my nails, cuticles, rough patches. I also mentioned how they can be used on babies for like diaper rash, or just depending on the ingredients. And so now I'm going to briefly go over calendula and chamomile. So the reason why I started using calendula and chamomile for myself is that I have self-diagnosed rosacea, and both of these flowers are anti-inflammatories. So they help reduce the inflammation in the skin. They also soothe redness in the skin. They help even out the skin tone. They're both suitable for all skin types. Unless you're allergic, which, you know, let's see. Oh, and calendula is a lymph mover. So, you know, if you have any stagnation, you can use that like to help move, get your lymph moving. Sorry. And then chamomile helps with like dark circles under the eyes, dark spots, helps reduce the signs of aging, helps with blemishes. It helps with like pain from blemishes. Like I said, it's also an anti-inflammatory, an antibacterial, and antiseptic. So it helps prevent like infection. They're both antioxidants, so they help fight against free radicals. And those are the things that like contribute to aging, the aging process. So Melissa wanted me to go over how I harvest, let's see, how I harvest calendula and chamomile. So what I do is just pick them by my hand, you know, hand pick them, I guess. There's also a contraption that you can use. I'm not sure if you guys saw on Melissa's Instagram page where it's like a berry picker that she used for harvesting chamomile. And I think that's like a really good idea. You can harvest as much, you can harvest more at once versus like picking each one by one like I do. I probably should invest in one of those berry pickers, but yeah, I like to pick each flower so that I can inspect each one. It's very tedious, but it helps me connect with the flowers and thank each one of them as well. Sometimes I'll use scissors to cut the flower from the stem because the stems also have a lot of medicinal properties as well. Let's see. Going over my notes so I don't leave anything out. Okay, so after I harvest, I usually harvest them and then place my plants in a basket. This is not chamomile or calendula. I don't have any of that right now. The season is like done. But yeah, I just lay my flowers down on a basket like this, which is of a natural material. And so I'll lay the calendula flowers face down. And if after a few days they're not dry, then I'll flip them over. But with like chamomile, I generally don't have to flip them because they're so tiny. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say something about the berry picker was something I was going to try. It's this little plastic contraption. It's like a comb and it like kind of under the flowers and they pop off. But I feel like you kind of lose that like connection with the plant. It's sort of, it does go faster when we have like, you know, this whole field of it, but it's sort of like almost a little too rough with the plants. I worry about like sort of ripping them out. It's sort of easy. So I don't know if it's the best tool, but it was something I was interested in trying to do. But I like just, they make such a fun sound when you just pop off the little flowers too, especially chamomile, not so much the calendula, but it's really fun to like pick the little flowers. So.
Yeah, that contraption's really cool. Like I said, I probably should invest in one because it makes the job go by a lot quicker. Let's see. Oh, so okay, after I dry my plant material, so okay, so for drying, there's also these mesh racks that you can get online. You can hang them. They're not necessarily baskets, but they're like shelf, like units, but they're made out of mesh. And so sometimes I'll use that to, when I have a lot of material to dry. So that keeps the circulation going from the plants, and it just keeps everything mold free. Also, you can use like a paper towel, and just, if you don't have too much stuff to dry, then you can use a paper towel, and that works too. I've also heard of folks who use a food dehydrator. You just have to be mindful when you use a food dehydrator because, you know, it can burn the materials. Or also I've heard of some folks who use the oven. You can set your oven at the lowest temperature and then just put your flowers and materials in there as well. I've never done it, but I invite you to try that if you'd like, and then, you know, let me know how it goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the ingredients that we're going to be using for this particular salve. And so,
one quick question, Mina. Someone was wondering what was in your basket. It wasn't chamomile or calendula now, but what do you have drying?
it's Clary sage, which is really good for like anti-aging. So I'm going to make a special formula for my mom and for myself.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So here I have calendula, which is very giving. It's a very prolific plant. It loves to just give and give. These are all dry. So as you can see, well, I'm sure some of you guys have calendula with you. So you need your flowers. Here's my chamomile. You'll need some beeswax. I feel that the pellets or pastils are easiest to work with, although you can use a bar, you just have to shave it, which can be kind of hard, especially if you have like a lot of beeswax to go through. And you'll need a carrier oil. I like to use avocado oil just because it doesn't have an overpowering fragrance, and so I like the way that chamomile comes through in the finished salve. So it doesn't really compete with it, and I like the way that avocado oil feels on my skin as well. Let's see. So there's a lot of suitable oils that you can use for your carrier oil. Some of them are olive oil, grapeseed oil, coconut oil, jojoba. Just do your research and find one that works best for your skin type, or, you know, for your family or yourself. Yeah, and like I said, avocado oil promotes collagen production, which helps grow, you know, skin. It's suitable for most types. And so, I mean, it's pretty accessible as well. I got this at Costco for like $19, I believe. Let's see. So I mentioned the beeswax.
Have you ever used safflower oil?
I haven't, no.
Someone was recommending that as kind of an alternative, is a little more economical than avocado oil.
Olive oil is good too. I would use like unrefined olive oil if you can get your hands on it. With the beeswax, like there are vegan options, such as Candelia. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. That's a plant-based wax. There's also soy wax. There is floral waxes as well. I've never worked with them, but I have heard of them. They seem, you know, they'd be lovely. I've heard of jasmine floral wax, rose floral wax. But yeah, I'm more experienced in using beeswax though. I have done Candelia once, and I did like it. It just made my my salve a little bit glossy, but yeah. And that's fine. But I honestly prefer the natural fragrance that comes from beeswax. It's like a honey sweet smell. So if you don't grow your own herbs, there's a couple of companies that I would recommend. One of them is my friend Mary Helen's Tangled Root Botanicals, and she's located in Old Town Glendale. It's a cute apothecary / tea house. And then there's also online, you can try Oshala Farm. They have beautiful, beautiful flowers and, you know, beyond organic growing methods. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started finally on the salve. So first of all, you need to have your prepared oil. So here is chamomile and calendula in avocado oil. And I can show you how I prepared that. But I'm gonna use my Clary sage as an example, if that's okay with you guys. So, you know, you just crunch your materials in.
I'm sorry to interrupt you again, Mina. I was just clarification on the tingle fruit botanicals or
Tangled root.
Tangled root. Okay, maybe I'll look that up to put a link.
Some people use vodka or Everclear. You know, you get a little bit of vodka or Everclear in the cap, and then you would put that on your hands and then kind of like splash your hands together, and then not really massage, but just like handle the plant material. And that helps break down the cell walls so that more properties are able to infuse easier. I don't really do that, but that's something that you can do. So yeah, I'm just going to continue. And this is my first time working with Clary sage, so I'm really excited. It smells so good. I wish you guys could smell this. And I use the stems and all because I feel like they all carry medicinal benefits. You know. So we're actually going to be working with 1 cup of oil, and this is like a little bit smaller than that, but this is just for demonstration purposes.
So what I love and didn't realize so much is basically it's the same procedure for no matter whatever you decide to infuse. You're using the same steps.
Yes. And so, I mean, the only one that I can think of is St. John's wort, which is something that you'd want to use not fresh, but not dry either, because if it dries too much, it loses its potency and it loses its beneficial constituents. So, but yeah, like with anything, I would research, you know, whatever you're working with. And so you're not going to want to fill this all the way to the top. You want to leave a little bit of headspace just so that you ensure that the oil completely covers your plant material. So I would leave about, you know, like this much, half an inch. But if you're using like a full size mason jar, like a quart size mason jar, then I would leave about 1 inch. And the quart size are the ones that are like, you know, like that big. I don't have a sample with me, but. And you should always have something underneath where you're working so it catches your plant material so you don't waste any. Oh, it smells so good. Okay.
Do you have the leaf of the sage and the flower? So the little one is the flowers? Or...
These are the flowers. And then actually I have some fresh material here. So here's fresh Clary sage flower. And here's a fresh leaf.
That's a huge leaf. That's cool.
Oh, they're like really big. These are the smaller ones that I got off my plant this morning. But yeah, I just picked these just to show how I would dry them on a basket. Okay. So just a little bit more material. Oh, and some people use they'll place their dry plant material and oil in a blender to mix it. I don't do that, but you can. Let's see, I have another. Oh, and some folks use molcajete, which is a mortar and pestle. And what they do is, they take their plant material and grind it together just to release more of the plant material, benefits of the plant material. Okay, I think we have enough. Okay, so now we're gonna add the oil. I don't know if you can hear it bubbling. But you want to make sure it's fully incorporated, because if it's not completely covered and there's like some material hanging out or sticking out, it can go rancid. And so I like to use a chopstick just to make sure that it's completely incorporated with the oil, or the oil is completely incorporating the plant material. And then you definitely want to make sure that you label this and date it. I would let it go for about 4 to 6 weeks. You can put it, you can infuse it in this. It's called the solar method, where you put it in the window and you just let the warmth of the sun help heat. You can also heat this on a stovetop on a very, very low setting for, anywhere from 2 hours to a whole day. You just have to be very mindful of the water level, and make sure that the material doesn't burn. So there's that. Now I can show you how to strain your finished oil. So let's pretend it's 4 to 6 weeks from when we made this salve. What I like to use is,
Maybe I should say those who got a supply kit, what we did per Mina's instruction, we put our dried calendula and dried chamomile. It's probably like 2/3 calendula, 1/3 chamomile. Just because when those chamomile flowers, they're so little, when they dry, it's like not very much. So, and then we used avocado oil, and it's probably been infusing for just shy of 4 weeks, like a couple days shy. But it did sit in my hot car, which I suppose is a solar kind of method to heat it up for a while. And then I may have not left quite as much headspace as I should have, but hopefully that's okay.
you'll smell it if it's off.
Okay.
Well, if it doesn't smell weird, then you're good.
Okay, that's the test. Weird.
Yeah, just like, it'll just smell rancid. Okay. So I actually like to use a strainer and cheesecloth. I'm gonna put a paper towel down because I don't want to mess up your mantel. Smells so good. So I'll give everybody a little bit of time to get their materials ready.
Do we use this that we were given in our kit? It's like a cloth. Is that the same thing we use?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
cool.
cheesecloth.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so we're just gonna dump this.
Make sure you have something underneath to catch it.
Oh yeah, you want to have something like a measuring cup or a bowl, a glass bowl or a stainless steel bowl to catch the oil underneath. Wow. You
This
can use the lid.
color is so cool. Like it's just a really beautiful orange. It's really
Isn't it beautiful? You know that the calendula is really powerful when it can convert like a green oil into orange. Well, all the medicinal properties are showing in the oil. So, and if you want, you can like dump this all in and then squeeze, but I'm not going to do that.
That's
So-
why we did include some gloves if you wanted to get in there and messy with it and squeeze it out.
And so with your leftover plant material, you can either compost it, or you can leave it in the cheesecloth and throw it in a bath, or you can add this to like a bag of Epsom salts and use that as like a body scrub. So you don't have to like just throw this away. You can also use this plant material for other projects. Okay, so this yielded about almost a cup and a half of oil, but we're only going to use a cup for our recipe today. Okay, so let me get my little heat source. I'm gonna move all this stuff out of the way. So for those of you who are following along, your water, I guess I should have told you this like when we first started, but let me see. I think so. Okay. Can you see my little stove? Or should I give everyone a few minutes to continue to strain out their oil?
I'm still
Yes, we-
straining. Yeah, I'm still straining a little.
Okay.
And we can see your stove.
Okay, cool.
So I got about 1.25 cups for mine. Do you recommend that we like measure how much oil goes into the jar, or is it more about covering the herbs?
Oh, it's just about covering the herbs. But you do want to make sure that your herb material comes up to at least, 1 inch or 1/2 inch of from the top. Because if you have too much space, then that allows for air to come in and oxidize the herbs, and we don't want that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and measure out my beeswax. So for 1 cup of oil, infused oil, you're gonna need about 1/4 cup of beeswax to 1/3 cup, depending on how soft or hard you want your material. And the way that you can test the consistency of the salve or balm is by placing a drop of your material, the beeswax and oil material, on a frozen spoon, and then you can test out if you like the consistency. If it's too liquidy, then you can add more beeswax, and if it's too hard, then you can add more oil if you have it. But definitely use less beeswax than you use less beeswax to start, so that in case you don't have enough oil, it's not too hard of a salve. I hope I'm being clear. If you have any questions, please let me know. Go ahead and look at the questions. Okay,
So
so
the frozen spoon thing is just like when you make jelly, you
oh yeah,
just it on a frozen spoon. So
jelly method. Let's see. So I'm just measuring out my beeswax now.
Can you repeat how much beeswax we're using?
So it would be about 1/4 cup of beeswax to 1 cup of oil. And like I said, we can test out the consistency of the salve to see if we like it or not, if we want to add more oil or if we want to add more beeswax.
then I think in your kit, those who have kits, it was 1/2 cup of beeswax, just to have good measure.
So I have 1/3 of the oil. Do I just put some back so to have 1 cup?
Yeah, we're just gonna work with 1 cup of oil.
Okay.
So those who have the kit, we did, you have a little brown amber glass jar. The idea with that is you can store your extra oil in that. And so.
So this is my makeshift double boiler. What a double boiler is a pot where you have water inside, and then another like bowl. It could be either glass or stainless steel on top. And so the goal is for the steam of the water to heat up, what's in here, which is the beeswax and oil. I always just place my measuring cup, my Pyrex measuring cup inside. It's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and measure out just 1 cup of the oil. So. So here's 1 cup. And you want to make sure that everything that you're using is completely dry. We don't want to introduce any water or moisture into our oil because again, it can go bad. Some people use vitamin E oil to help preserve the oil. It's not really a preservative. But people do add vitamin E oil to prevent the oils from going rancid. It's not something that I use because I generally use up my salves within 6 months. So if you feel that you'll be using your salve will go on for longer than 6 months, then yeah, I invite you to look into vitamin E as a preventative of oxidation. And so now I'm going to add in my beeswax. I use I'm going to use the chopstick just to make sure I get everything.
How much of the beeswax again? I'm sorry.
1/4 of a cup.
Quarter cup.
Mhm.
Okay.
We're going to start with 1/4 of a cup. And if we need more, then we can add like a teaspoon at a time. So does anybody have any questions at this time? Where is everybody at with in their process?
We are heating ours up. It looks good. It smells so good.
Yeah, this is so like such a rewarding experience, you know. It's like, wow, I grew this and now I'm making something with it. It's, I don't know, it always just brings me so much joy. And then when you can like gift something that you made to your friends and family, I don't know, to me, it's just, it makes me super happy.
I just wanted to clarify too with your sage you're infusing. You do the same 4 to 6 weeks. Is
Mhm.
that pretty standard no matter what you're infusing?
You can go as, you know, as little as 2 weeks if you'd like, but I like to do 4 to 6 weeks, typically 6 weeks. And like I said, if you don't want to do that, then you can use a stovetop method, but just be very mindful that your oil doesn't burn. And so you can either use a chopstick or a spatula to stir it up and just ensure that your beeswax melts evenly.
Hey, Mina, should the water be boiling? Or should we lower the temperature?
You know, I don't let the water boil. Like if it does get to a boiling temp, then I'll just turn it down a little bit. But you just want like the steam from the water to heat your oil and beeswax. So I guess if your bowl is not directly in the water, it doesn't really matter if it's boiling. But like I have here, my vessel is in the water. So if if the water starts boiling, then I'll turn it down. So right now I have it on medium heat, but my water is not boiling.
How much water do you have in that saucepan?
It's about up to here.
Okay, so it's filled up pretty high then.
There's about 1/2 inch space because I don't want it to like boil over and like get all over my little hot plate, but I wouldn't fill it all the way to the top.
Okay.
Especially like if you haven't put your vessel inside because it can, you know, spill out. But
Are we just trying to create steam?
yes.
Okay. Because I only have maybe like 1.5 inches of water.
Oh, just as long as it, you know, it doesn't spill into your vessel where your beeswax and oil is, and you know, your water level should be fine.
Okay.
And even with like the cheesecloth, like I like to just rub it on myself after I'm done, and then I'll compost the herbs inside. And so
That's what I was doing. I was like putting it on every little grape and dry skin.
yeah, you don't want any of it to go to waste. So what does everybody plan on doing with their bombs or salves?
I'm gonna give to my mom.
This is my first time making it, so what can I use it for?
You can use this, you know, after you wash your face. You can put it on, you know, before bedtime. You can put it in your hair tips, on your flyaways. You can put them on your eyebrows to like tame them, like I do. I put them on rough patches like elbows and knees. I use it as a lip balm. I use them on my cuticles and my nails. Like I said, I've given them away to like friends with babies because this particular formula is like gentle enough for baby skin. Yeah, the sky's the limit. Whatever, you know, like you can use it as a lotion. You can use it on your dry feet, like cracked feet, hooves, as one of my friends calls it. You know, I've also heard of people using it as like what's it called? It's like before you put your makeup on, before you put your foundation, like a primer. I've heard of that as well. So right now my beeswax is still pretty solid. I don't know if you can see. Show you. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's just a 1/4 cup.
yes,
And then you put 1 cup of the oil.
yes.
Huh, mine's already melted.
Oh. You got the
So,
touch.
What are we looking for? Are we just waiting until it melts?
Yes, you want to let it completely melt. So mine melted, but you don't want to pour like immediately after it appears to be melted. Like for me at this point, I will turn off the heat, and then I would just continue to stir for another 5 minutes, just so that just so that it's fully melted.
How do we know when we put enough beeswax in?
We're gonna do a frozen spoon test. So with that is, you know, you take a drop of this finished incorporated incorporated beeswax and oil, and you drop a little bit onto a frozen spoon, and then you let it solidify, and then from there you can test to see if you like the consistency.
So I should put a spoon in the freezer right now, huh?
Yes, sorry, I should have mentioned that at the very beginning of the Or you can use like whatever's in your freezer. Like if you have a ice cream top, you can use that, or anything that's in your freezer you can use. It's like solid, or like a package of popsicles. Like as long as it's closed, you can just put a dropper full on the plastic part of the wrapper. Or like anything that's cold, you can use. What else?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So I have a finished Chula by Nature Mina product here, and we use it all the time. It's calendula and a plantain skin salve, and we use it on my daughter's eczema that she has, and it's very like she feels really like a lot of relief when she uses it. And I was just using it on my hands since I didn't participate in making the salve right now, but I'm gonna go back and make my own. But I love it, and it works really good. Just wanted to add that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's what I think this was great. Some of the gardeners know Lillian Kong made me a salve a couple years ago, and I love it for that, like gardener hand, cuticle dryness and sort of stuff you get from working in the dirt and things. So it's great for that too.
Yeah, like in the winter, my skin gets really dry, especially like right here around my nose and like around my lips for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, I put some of that on before bed, like kind of like a thick application, and in the morning it's like, it's back to normal.
So if we're all melted, we take it off the heat if we're all melted.
Yeah, you can turn off your heat, but leave it on the heat source for about 5 minutes, just so that the beeswax is fully incorporated into the oil. Do you mind grabbing that spoon, the frozen spoon, please? So yeah, when you leave this this formula on the heat source for a little bit longer, just so that just so that when it solidifies, it's not grainy. So here's my frozen spoon. I'm gonna do a test. Just put like a few drops of the salve on your frozen spoon and give it like a few minutes to rest. You can already see it solidifying. Is that picking up?
Does this have any use after it's used?
I'm sorry?
Does this have any use when it's done? Can I do anything with this afterwards besides composting it? No. Okay.
Oh, the flowers? The
Yeah.
flowers? I mentioned how you can add the flowers to like Epsom salts, or like Himalayan salt or sugar, and you can use it as like a body scrub. You could also leave the material in your cheesecloth and then throw that into a warm bath. Those are just a couple of ideas that you can do with the spent flowers aside from composting them.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And so I'm gonna see if I like this consistency. So this is what it's gonna look like. Oops. And it melts pretty easily. So depending on if you want it to melt as quickly as that, you can leave it as is, or you can add a little bit more beeswax. I would add just like a teaspoon at a time, maybe 1 or 2, but probably no more than that. unless you wanted to make a balm, which you can do as well. And with a balm, you can put it into something fun like this to make like a solid lotion bar. So this is a heart-shaped mold that you would pour your oil into, let it cool, and then it would pop right out. But with that, I would use more beeswax, like maybe half a cup to a cup of oil. And that's for a balm.
So that you use more like a lotion bar kind of? You just could take that heart and rub it around.
Yeah, just rub it all over.
That sounds fun. You could do all kinds of shapes and
Yeah, do like flower shapes, heart shapes, star shapes, whatever you have. Do you want my boxes of the this? And so, like Melissa said, we have like a little bit of oil left over. And so you can use this oil and pour it into something like this with a funnel. Don't try to do it like straight into there because you will spill it. Trust me. Ask me how I know. Yeah, I would use a funnel and then just pour this in. And then you can use that as a facial oil or like a body massage oil. You can use this as a cleansing oil, which is you pour a few drops of oil on your face and like rub it in. It'll remove like oil. So oil pulls oil and dirt out of your pores or skin. And then instead of like washing it off with soap, you would get a cloth towel, a hot cloth towel, like a wet hot cloth towel, and put that on your face and let the oil absorb into the towel. And then, you know, that's another thing that you can do with this oil. You know, you can gift little dropper bottle to someone as well. Just keep it for yourself. So now I'm going to go ahead and start pouring my oil into the tins. Are you guys good with that, or should I slow down?
I'm making mine just a little bit thicker.
Okay.
yeah, I made a mess, but then I just keep rubbing it on my skin to clean up, and I think I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, I'm just reading some notes here. Bombs that are shaped will melt in Phoenix temperatures even with more beeswax, correct? Yeah, like I would definitely, like I wouldn't carry around the solid bar like loosely in your bag or whatever. I would still put them in something like this just in case they melt. There's also like jars you can use. You can use baby food containers, just make sure they're sterilized. And then I have a couple of sizes. This is a 1/2 ounce tin. And then these are a 1 ounce tin. So I'm gonna get that ready. Okay, let me move this out of the way.
I like your tip about using the chopsticks to stir. This is a good one because then I feel like the spatula is like covered in beeswax now. So that's a good tip to use a chopstick or like something that more disposable because it'll be covered in wax.
Or you could just take off the formula, off the spatula when you're all done. Just rub it on yourself. Okay.
My audio was being weird, so I had to close out and open back up. What did I miss?
What was the last thing you saw?
You were using the you were putting it into this little jar.
I was what?
You were putting the oil into this jar.
I was putting the oil into this.
I think he's referencing the excess oil that you had. You were storing it in your little glass jar.
Okay. Hey, Malcolm.
Hey,
So-
it's like so my my thing was coming up with my employee ID earlier, so you didn't see my
So I don't know what part you caught, but like I was just telling the group that with your leftover oil, you can, use a funnel, pour it into your dropper bottle, and use it as a body oil. You can use it as a oil facial cleaner. I would invite you to look into it. It's not like a long process, but it's a nice little ritual you can do before bed.
So this is the wax and the oil. What do we do? What did you do anything with it yet, or is it still cooling?
The finished oil? No, not yet.
Okay. So now it's cooling. Should I leave it in the hot water?
I would take it out. You don't want it to cool down too much because you don't want it to solidify. And we want to get as much of the material into our tins as possible. So
we do have a question. We have somebody wondering, where would we buy the little container that you were showing us?
I think I got these at a place called Bulk Apothecary online. I've seen them at Sprouts. We're not doing Amazon, so I don't want to say Amazon. If my friend Mary Helen is on here, I think she sells these as well at her shop. Yeah, you can just look for them online. They're called aluminum tin containers. And like I said, you can get them in like 1 ounce size or ½ an ounce, or you can get them in 2 ounce sizes, 4 ounce sizes. I believe they go up to like 8 ounces. And so with these, just try your best not to get any, try not to spill. So you don't want to lose any of your product.
We have another question. Someone is wondering if the salve is safe to use around your eyes.
Yeah, I would use it around my eyes, especially with the chamomile. Like chamomile brightens dark circles, and chamomile and calendula are good to keep down inflammation. So if you have like puffy eyes, and I would use it. I use it under my eyes. I just don't get it directly into your eye. So when you pull this out of the water, make sure that it's completely dry. Like dry it as fast as you can, because you don't want to introduce any water into your little tin containers.
Is it okay to use with little kids?
Yes, this formula, yes. Chamomile and calendula are pretty safe. Unless, you're allergic, but I think they're part of the marigold family. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pouring. And you only wanna go up to the middle line. I don't know if you can see that. You don't wanna pour it all the way to the top, because this is a 1 ounce container. And so if you want to only pour 1 ounce, and I would just go to this ridged line. You can feel the line. Just for reference, it's the one that's kind of like sticking out. I'll show you when to stop. So. So I don't know if you can see where I stopped. This is really hot. And see how it's already starting to like solidify a little bit. So once you take it off your heat source, you want to kind of move quickly. But if it does solidify, then you can always melt it back down again.
So I think in our kits, we only gave 2 containers. So yeah, you'll have some excess that you can remelt down and put it in something, or find recycled glass, or something sterilized is what Mina said.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use like anything plastic, because you don't want whatever's in the plastic to leach out into, you know, your skin. Like the heat from the oil will pull whatever's in the plastic. Oops, I'm making a mess. And then I would just let these dry overnight, or I'm sorry, set up overnight. I wouldn't cover them, because you can introduce condensation into the tin bombs, or into the tin containers. And you want this to dry as naturally as possible. Like, you don't want this to be in a cold environment, because what can happen is that the wax will collect together at the top of the bomb, and it'll dry more quickly on the top. And so you'll have more wax on the top, and then it'll be more liquidy at the bottom. So don't put these in your fridge, or don't have them in a cold environment. Just let it cool down at a room temperature.
So Mina, seeing your beautiful pictures of your salve, you have like petals in them. How do you do that?
Oh, yeah, like I just save material from whenever I harvest. And so I'll wait until these are a little bit more solid. Not completely solid, but I'll wait a little bit until they're a little more solid. And then I'll just place my flowers on top for decoration. Yeah, with this one I used pieces of like rose, chamomile, plantain, the herb, not the fruit. And it's mostly for decoration, just to make it look cute. Let's see, make sure I didn't forget anything. And then when you clean up, I wouldn't dump this like into your sink, because you don't want wax and oils going in down your pipes. So I know it sucks to use paper towels, but I would just go ahead and wipe everything up and then throw it into the sink to wash, just to remove any excess oil or beeswax.
So for those who got a kit and are just following along now to make later, Yeah, I should have included a lot more tins because I think like I made 6 tins, 1 ounce things worth with the 1 cup of oil. So you want to maybe find a glass, some container or something else to put the other salve in.
What did you put the remaining in, Melissa? Did you just put it in a glass? I'm trying to look through my kitchen.
Well, I had an excess kit that wasn't picked up, so I kind of snagged the tins when I realized I was going to have all this extra. So, and I'm looking for something I could use for the last little bit.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to look for something as well.
Would a clean, sterilized mason jar be good? Or would that be too deep and big?
It could be, but you know, you could always use like a spoon to scoop out your balm. I wouldn't stick my fingers in there, just so that you're not introducing like bacteria or anything that your hands may have on them. I would, or you could use a chopstick to like pull it out, but yeah, definitely do not use like your finger in there. But yeah.
And it could be remelted if we can't find something right away.
So mine are already starting to like set up a little bit.
So if they're in the little tins, you said don't use your fingers. And are we using like a little spoon to take it out of the tins?
No, actually with these, I do use my fingers. I guess you could use your finger inside of the, I'm just thinking like something deep like this. I don't know, like with this, you would just be using like, you know, a little bit, but with something like this, just picture you using like a lot more of your skin going into the container. But whatever you're more comfortable with, like I said, you can, you know, use your finger directly with the balm, or you can use a spoon or a chopstick. But with mine, I use my finger and then I'll apply it, but I'll clean hands. Sorry for the confusion.
So those who are looking for something I wish I would have done, but I already did it, is that I have these little silicone cupcake muffin liners, and that would work like her heart mold. And so maybe adding some more wax, the remainder of the wax, to make it more of like a lotion bar, and then using these molds. So if anyone has any of those silicone baking trays, that could work as a mold too.
So we have another question submitted. This is for Melissa and I guess for you. We have someone saying they've enjoyed your class so much and they are interested in you doing some more in the future. Are there any other types of classes that you could potentially do and maybe coordinate with Melissa and getting some scheduled?
Yeah, we could probably do tinctures. Here I have a tincture that I made. I don't know if you guys saw me like just dumping tons of it into my drink. But this has bougainvillea. It has jamaica, which is a roselle. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. And then it has holy basil. And I mainly use this because the holy basil is like calming. And so is a bougainvillea. The bougainvillea is like, I don't know if Damiana is here, but I took a class with her and she fully explained like details on bougainvillea and how one way that it can be used is for like courage. So we could do a class on tinctures. This is made with apple cider vinegar and honey, but there's also like, you know, vodka or Everclear recipes as well. So I don't know if that's something that you guys would be interested in doing, but I definitely would be interested in that. And I can try to think of other things that we can do as well. But thank you. That really means a lot to me. See, it's already solidifying. So like I said, you kind of have to work quickly, but no worries because you can always just remelt this down again.
So when would you would this be a good stage to put flowers in if you wanted to decorate it, or wait a little bit longer?
Yeah, like, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, I would definitely do it at that point. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of chamomile.
Do you press it down if it's hard already, kind of inside the, no?
No, no, because you know, when you start using it, you don't want to have like those little bits mixed up in the salve. So honestly, I kind of like just shove these out of the way when I start using them. That's why I don't like to add too much. But yeah, it's mainly for decorative purposes. And I've seen folks who use like a whole calendula head, like a flattened calendula. So I'm gonna put one of these in here. I don't know if you can see that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Or you can just use like the petals as well. So, and generally I'll use whatever petals or flowers that are in the salve for decoration. But you don't have to. It's just mainly for aesthetic, I guess.
I didn't want to interrupt Mina, but I just some people who joined the class later, we are doing a raffle prize for those who are here today. So if you are in the Phoenix area and able to pick up the raffle prize, you can put your name in the chat and then we'll select one of you in a few minutes as the winner. So if you didn't put your name in yet, do that now. Last call.
How do we do that?
Do you see at the bottom of your screen, there's a little like text box that says the word chat. If you click on that, it should pull up a little like text box and then you can type your name. Just make sure it says to everyone or that we can all see it, because sometimes you could just send a message to the last person who spoke.
So I do have a slightly random question. Have you ever made deodorant?
Yes.
Because I would be interested in that class.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else is.
That's something I would definitely. I love making my own deodorant. My sister kind of gets mad at me when I don't have a steady supply for her because she got used to using my deodorant. But yeah, I'd love to.
That's great because I buy one and it's so expensive. And if I could just make it myself, that would be great.
Thank you for that suggestion.
This is so fun. We added the flowers, look so good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does look fun.
Oh, I want to see. So here's mine. They're starting to kind of solidify. Can you see them?
That's so beautiful.
Here's ours. I don't know if you can see.
Good job. Those look perfect.
I just removed the spotlight, so whoever's talking should be highlighted. Or
Here's ours with me and Noel.
Love it.
So fun.
Malcolm?
Just basic.
So, again, like I said, I would just leave these to set up overnight or maybe like a few hours, just test them, see if you think they're ready, and then you can gift them or keep them all to yourself if you'd like. But I would definitely use these within 6 months because there's no preservatives in it. There's no need for a preservative because there's no water introduced into this, but also there's not that vitamin E that prevents the oil from oxidation.
Do we have any of those cookie trays anymore? I thought.
Oh, sorry, Malcolm. I'm gonna mute him.
And also, I just wanted to share my contact information. Let's see if I can pull it up here. You can follow me on Chula by Nature and Goth Jardineras. And if you send me a message and you're based here in Phoenix, the first 11 people who contact me will, we can schedule an arrangement for you to pick up one of these if you'd like.
Thank you, Mina. That's very generous of you to share your salves. I know we couldn't do supplies for everybody who was interested, so that's a great way to share too.